Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. It's a sunny day here. I'm so happy. Today is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 at 11 a.m. as I'm coming to you live. How are you? Oh, Central Time, forgot to mention that. How is everybody? It's so fun. We have several people that are already on the live with us. And it looks like it's increasing, yay, because it's 11 o'clock and we're all timely. We're going to do mystery stamping today. It's a unique live. I don't have any moderators with us, so I gave Trisha and Lisa the day off. I said take it easy because I have to read the comments anyways in case there's questions. I have to be paying attention to the live comments. This is different. This is different than my normal online paper crafting classes. This is more of an event because I'm not teaching you. We're playing a game, basically. Now, in the description on YouTube, because I can add that description before the live begins, there is a list of the supplies that you'll want to gather. So I'm going to put that up right now so you can all see that. And this is clue number one. Basically, it's basically the clue that gets you started. So you can see that we're going to gather some materials for this. And while I am chatting away, you can read this list and you can find things in your own crafting space. Hopefully that's where you're at. And just find, I would start with the designer paper if I were you. So we're kind of focused around a designer paper, maybe stamp set combo. That's what I have for my finished samples that I'll share with you at the end. So we're going to take and walk you through a series of what we call clues, and you get to take and create something with your crafting supplies and see if it ends up looking similar to the type of card that I had in mind, okay? It's a game, so don't take it too seriously. Have fun with it. If you are catching this live without any notice, let's say you tuned in and you're like, what are we doing? Just sit back and enjoy. And if you want to, you can stop it and wait for the live to end. Like, don't follow through, don't watch the whole thing if you want to do it from start to finish. Just come back to it later when the live isn't happening, and then you can take and start over from the beginning and follow the clues step by step and play the game. But feel free to just sit back and relax because you don't have to play, okay? Just enjoy, see what happens. And thank you so much, Joanne, for becoming a member of my channel. Yay. If you're watching on Facebook, know that the supply list is not in the description of the video beforehand because the live, when it happens on Facebook, it's a whole different thing. With Facebook, it just all of a sudden posts as the live is happening. With YouTube, I can create like all this information. People can go in before the live. They can even start chatting before the live begins. It's a whole different thing. I invite you to join on a YouTube live if you've never done that before. YouTube is live to watch. If you create a YouTube or Google account, you can then go in, log into that, and you can type in the chat as we're live. But otherwise, YouTube is, it's stress-free. You don't have to worry about being a part of it. Facebook, you actually have to have an account, right? Well, and it's free also, but you have to be in Facebook in order to watch it. With YouTube, you don't even have to be logged in. You can just watch it. So, good morning to all of you. This is fun. All right. I love that you're sharing your weather. Virginia, I hope that things are going to be safe for you and those around you. She had talked about there was a storm coming. Thinking safe thoughts your way. I'm looking at the comments on my computer because I can read more of them at the same time. People are chiming in about where they're from. I love that. Even if I know where you're from, please share it anyways because there's a lot of new viewers that come on lives with us each week. And we can all just continue to build our community if you continue to share. So I appreciate you sharing. I love that you're using fun emojis. Oh, it's great. All right, so let me read this to you if you haven't read it yet, just so you can start gathering your supplies. I'm going to start with this, materials to gather, okay? The designer paper. You want to have a pack of paper that has both kind of a semi-dominant design on one piece and more of like a subtle or a background piece that doesn't have something that people would draw their eye to, okay? So the subtle one is going to be the one that is more like positioned this way. So it's like squatty and long. And then the more dominant pattern is going to be taller and skinnier, if that makes sense. So you want to have a 2¼ inch high. Oh, ignore, oh my goodness, I forgot to take these out last night, you guys. Oh my goodness sakes. I did it on my blog post, but I forgot to take them out on this. Ignore all of these because I never revised the metric measurements. Ignore the metric measurements. Those are from another mystery stamping project that I did. Oh my goodness sakes, Rachel. See, I knew something would happen. My half of my family is flying to Florida right now. The other half is here. So we had kind of a hectic night last night, getting ready for all of that, getting them packed up, making sure the tickets were all good. And so I'm trying to create this blog post at the same time and type up the cues. I'm going to grab a better marker here so we can cross that out better. Hang on just a minute. Okay, coming back. So yeah, ignore all of the metric measurements. I'm going to have to look on all of this stuff. Oh my goodness sakes. Okay, there. Now we're definitely crossing all the metric out. Don't look at them. All right, so the designer paper again, more subtle pattern that's wide and squatty, and then a more dominant pattern that's skinnier, taller, that type of thing. Okay, 4¼ by 2¼ wide. The base cardstock, oh, and it helps if you have like a stamp set that coordinates with it or that will go with it, because you'll use the stamps at the end to finish off your card. We're doing basically the structure or the bones of the card first, and then we're putting on all the extra pieces, the muscles, the skin, all of that, okay, if you're thinking of a body. Base cardstock, okay, you have actually 3 different color cardstocks that we're going to be using here. And you can always, once we've done this, this practice card, the one for the game, you can always take and add other layers. You can do like 4 layers or 4 different colors of cardstock. You'll see an example where I did use 4, but basically you're using 3 for the main amount, okay? So your base cardstock is one that's coordinating with your pattern paper, your designer paper. And I picked the one that coordinates more with the subtle one. So if your subtle paper has more of like lots of, I don't know, lots of blues in it, then maybe you want to have a blue base because you want that subtle pattern to really blend in to the background, okay? And then, excuse me, and then that piece is going to be 5½ by 8½. And then your neutral cardstock would be like white or vanilla, typically. And I mean, you could go with another color, but let's just stick with white or vanilla for this practice run. And you want that to be coordinating, of course, with the designer paper. So if you have a designer paper that has more vanilla as a neutral color in it, then you probably want to choose vanilla. And then I chose white for all of my cards, but that's because of the designer papers or pattern papers that I had. Those 2 pieces that you'll want to have will be 4 by 5¼ and 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. Then the last cardstock is a layer underneath the 2 lights, okay? So you're gonna have one that's slightly bigger than this one. So it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then you'll have one that's slightly bigger than this one. So that is 3 by 4 1/4. We have one more piece, and that's going to be a little strip of paper. And then you'll also want to have some tools ready. So you'll want to have a trimmer with a scoring blade, bone folder just to help you crease your folds, snips, dimensionals, other adhesives. The dimensionals are optional, but I think it really adds to it for one of our layers. And then stamps and ink and embellishments, you know, that kind of thing, like ribbons, and if you're gonna have die cut shapes and all that stuff. Those are more towards the end of it, okay? So thumbs up if you have those things ready. Let me know if you're ready. Looks like we have 147 people viewing right now. I hope that you're all having fun. Oh, I better leave this up here because that was the last thing I put up there. So go ahead and grab all of that. There we go. Grab all of that. Give me the thumbs up if you are ready. And I'm just going to peek at comments again. What time is it in Juneau, Anne? Anne says that it's still dark and it's 8 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold. It was 13 when I woke up today, but we do have the sun shining, so I have a feeling it's going to get a little warmer than that today in Minnesota. We're not quite as Arctic as Alaska, but all right. Am I seeing any thumbs up yet? Give me thumbs up in the comments, whether it's a smiley face or a thumb with a thumb up, you know, the hand with a thumb up, or a heart or something to let me know that you're ready. Ta-da! Barbara says, ta-da! Love it. Good to go from Debbie. All right. Oh, thank you, Diane. I hope that you like this idea, you guys. This is a card. Okay, how did I get this idea? This is a card that was inspired by a swap that I got from a fellow demonstrator, a sister demonstrator, in fact. So I host a card swap for my team and sister demonstrators. Not every month, but maybe like every other or every month and a half or so, we do a card swap. And so we just had one, and the cards were collected by the 28th of December, and then anybody who wanted to come in person that lived locally came with their cards that day, and we swapped them all out. Otherwise, the rest of them were mailed to me. But we had bins of cards all over the room, and then the people that come locally to swap, they help out, and we just rotate and we pass out the cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the next bin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all these sets of 10 cards get passed out and dispersed, and then the cards are swapped, right? And in the bags, we send the bags back home. Anyways, this one card was sent by Tina Bickford, and I was like, that's really different. And so I kept looking at it thinking, it's easy, but it's different. And so I thought it'd be fun to share. Yay, we have lots of thumbs up, and we are good to go. All right, making it later. That's totally fine, Yvonne. Okay, here we go. It's going to be a landscape style card. Okay, so landscape means this versus this. Okay, this is portrait, this is landscape, and the opening is at the bottom. Okay, all right, here we go. Now, if you didn't get the first clue, you're going to have to just sit and watch the rest of the time, okay? Or you can stop and then come back to this later so you can start from the beginning. But clue number 2. Now we're going to take our 5.5 by 8.5 card base piece, and we're going to score it parallel to the short side. So let's say this is your 5.5 by 8.5. You got your short side, you got your long side. You're going to score it so that your score line is parallel to that short side, which means you're going to score it in this direction, okay? And you're going to score it at 4.25 inches. It's going to put it at the halfway mark. Then you're going to use a bone folder to help, and you're going to rotate to help crease the fold. And then you're going to rotate this folded base so it's positioned landscape style with the opening at the bottom. This is a simple card base so far. Okay, I will repeat the directions. Take your trimmer with the scoring blade. You're going to take and score parallel to the short side at the 4.25 inch mark. Then you're going to fold it. You're going to use the bone folder to help you crease that fold. Then you're going to rotate the folded card base so that it is positioned landscape style with the opening at the bottom. Okay, Happy New Year to you too, Dora. All right, next clue. I'm gonna take and put those right there so we don't lose them. Okay, clue number 3. All right, clue number 3. We are now going to measure and mark. This is an important clue. So I'm gonna read it slowly and hopefully you can follow along. So let's say this is, you know, your landscape style card with the opening at the bottom. You're going to measure and mark with a pencil, because we're going to erase it later, the halfway point on the front right edge. Okay, this is the front, this is the right edge. You're going to mark the halfway point, and then you're going to mark the lower left-hand corner. So you're going to mark the halfway point on the right edge, and you're going to mark the lower left corner. Now, you don't have to actually mark the lower left corner, but you have to at least be aware of it. Okay? You're going to open the card base, because we're going to do some cutting, and we don't want to cut through both layers. We want to cut through just the front. You're going to open that card base, and you're going to cut from one mark to the other. Yeah, I should put, okay, so the metric measurements, comments always come in a little bit more delayed, but Trevlin, I will have to add those in later. I didn't have time. My family, half of my family, left for Florida this morning, and last night it was a busy household, and I was trying to get these clues put together, and I accidentally left the metric measurements in the first clue. Hopefully they're not in any other clues here along the way, but I left them in the first clue from a whole different mystery stamping that we've done. So ignore those metric measurements. If I have time later on today, I have 3 lives today. If I have time later on today, I will revise my blog post, because my blog post, which is live now, if you click on the link in the YouTube description, you can get there and you can actually cheat and look at the photos of the finished cards I'm going to share with you at the end. But in that blog post, I've also copied these clues so that you can, if you want to, do these with your team or a group of people that you stamp with, or if you want to, before you scroll all the way down, you can actually do it yourself, right? So you don't have to do it with the video. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. You're going to measure and mark with a pencil the halfway point on the front right edge, and then mark the lower left corner. This is of your folded card base, right? And now you're going to open the card base, and you're going to cut from one mark to the next. It's going to give you a diagonal cut on the front. You're going to pull that triangular layer, because it's going to form a triangle. You're going to pull that triangular layer away. Do not flip it over. Okay, so if you flipped it over, put it back in place and just slide it away, okay? Do not flip it over, but rotate it so that the once lower right corner becomes the lower left corner. Okay, that's important. I need to say that again, all right? So put that piece back in place just so that you have it, and you're doing this by step by directions here. Okay, so you're going to put it back in place. Now here we go. Pull the triangular layer that we just cut away. Do not flip it, but rotate it so that the once lower right corner is now in the lower left. Now also, with that corner switched over there, the bottom edges and the left edges, the left and bottom edges of this folded card will be lined up with that piece again. So you're actually refolding the card. Should we do that one more time? Okay, you've cut your piece away. Don't flip it. Take that piece and slowly pull it away. Maybe fold that card base again if you haven't done so already, but fold the card base, rotate it so that the once lower right corner now becomes placed in the lower left. And you'll find that that edge here and that edge here will line up with the folded card base and with that triangular piece. They're going to be lined up, okay? It's actually going to kind of look like a little foot down here. Okay, if you see where my fingers are going here, I'm kind of outlining that piece. And then underneath that, we have kind of a diagonal exposure here. Okay, this is empty. You can see the inside of the card over there. This is how the piece will eventually get attached. So you need to memorize the way it looks and keep it non-flipped. Don't flip it, okay? Don't flip it over, because we don't want to attach the designer paper to the wrong side. So know where it's going to go. Make sure that you remember how it's going to look when it gets attached. First, we need to add the designer paper pieces. And we also have that 1/2-inch dark cardstock. Remember the dark cardstock that we prepared? There's a 1/2-inch wide strip that we're going to add to that. How are we doing? Yes, 90 degrees. Is it 90 degrees or is it 45 degrees? 90 degrees. 90 degrees, Marcia, you're right. Oh, I love it. Mary, your emoji face with the zoned out eyes is funny. You'll make the card later? Okay, that's okay. Thank you, Vay. All right, are we ready to move on? How was everybody's New Year's and Christmas, by the way, or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever holiday you celebrate, if you celebrate holidays during the holidays? Did you celebrate? And if so, tell us about it, right? Especially if you're a fast worker and you've already done, taken care of these clues before I even explained them to everybody else. Type in the chat. This is crazy, Peggy? Okay. So we need a visual. Let's pretend that this is your card base, okay? You're cutting from here to here. Then you're taking that triangular piece and you're rotating it. So now it's over here. Did that help? You didn't cut the back though. You just cut the front layer, not the back layer. When it's folded, it helps that triangular piece line up. If you don't fold your card base back together, back into a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2-inch type size, then you have a hard time lining up that diagonal triangular piece. You have to fold it back up to line up that piece. Okay, any questions so far? This is your first mystery stamping, Terry. Oh, how fun. Oh, that's great. Heidi says that you just got back from the chiropractor. Yay. I don't think I can go to a chiropractor anymore. I'm a little nervous about my bones. I have osteoporosis, I found out about a month ago. Yay for me. I kind of knew I was going to get it. I mean, if you guys look at my wrists, I have like super skinny wrists. I think it was just hereditary because I've exercised my whole life and sometimes, and I eat really well. But, you do what you can do, right? So I'm just going to continue to be as strong as I can. And we all have to kind of like break down somehow, somewhere in our bodies. Oh, well. So no chiropractor visits for me, Heidi, but yeah, I used to. Gosh, maybe 15 years ago. Thanks for sharing, Tony, and thank you for the Christmas card. All right, we are ready to roll. Are we ready to roll? We're ready to roll. And Diane says she's already figured this out. I'm definitely a more visual crafter. Most people are. When I used to be an elementary teacher, we had like the auditory learners, the visual learners, the kinesthetic learners. You learn all about this. And most people like to do and see more so than just listen and read. This is more challenging. That is why because somebody was actually like adamant about it. I don't remember who it was, but said, you please just kind of do some kind of visual with it as we go. So that's why I did this and hoping that will help you guys a little bit. But all right, clue number 4. We're on to clue number 4. We're going to now take pattern paper, okay? We're going to take the dominant pattern paper. Remember, we had the subtle one that was short and long this way, and we have the dominant one that's more vertical. The dominant one is going to get adhered to that triangular piece. We have to adhere that and the little strip before we attach, and we have to adhere the subtle paper to the front of the base before we put the whole thing together. So here we go. you're going to adhere the more dominant pattern paper to this triangular layer, but you're going to leave a narrow bit, about a 1/16 of an inch of cardstock exposed on the left and bottom edges. So if this is a triangular piece of paper here, and we're adding our designer paper to it, let's say this is our designer paper, we're going to make sure that we keep about a 1/16 of an inch, here, I'll pull this away so you can see it better, about a 1/16 of an inch exposed on the side and the bottom. The rest of that designer paper is going to go beyond the triangle on both the right and the top. The right, not as much, but on the top for sure. Okay, because I gave you an extra long piece. All right? So you're going to leave an exposed edge here and an exposed edge here. Back to the clue. Let's start it again. Adhere that more dominant pattern paper to this triangular layer, leaving a narrow bit of cardstock exposed on the left and bottom edges. You can use glue. You can use seal adhesive. Okay, what's going on here? Somebody was talking about, wasn't able to make it in time for the, oh, same. You were talking about Gail's comment, Heidi? Yeah, just sit back and relax. If you made it late, it's totally fine to just sit back and relax. Oh, thanks, Mary, for becoming a fan of my channel. I appreciate it. Yay. Okay, let's see here. So, is that attached? Hopefully so. Glue or seal or any kind of tape or whatever will work. And now we're going to adhere that longest, the longest edge. Okay, so you have that triangular piece still, right? You got your triangular piece. This is the longest edge. Okay, that's the longest edge. We're going to take the longest edge of that triangular piece and we're going to put it atop the 1/2 inch wide strip. So you got that strip, you got your triangular piece, and you're going to adhere it on top of that strip so that you're exposing just a little bit of, here, I'll do it this way. So here's our triangle. So you're exposing just a little bit of that 1/2 inch wide strip. So you're connecting this and you're putting it on top of the 1/2 inch wide strip. What you're doing is just creating a nice dark edge. Okay, you could also take and, I don't know, like sponge it. You could take sponge and ink and darken it, but you definitely want it to stand out a little bit. So that's why we added that 1/2 inch strip in there. So again, adhering the longest edge of this triangular piece on top of the 1/2 inch wide strip, exposing just a narrow bit, about a 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch of that strip all the way along that edge. Also, because that strip is nice and long, we had you guys cut it nice and long. Be sure that this strip extends a bit beyond the triangle's corners. That will help for trimming things up. This is fun and challenging. I'm glad you're liking it, Sandra. Thank you. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, Lori, that is a new one. I have not heard of that either. Vay was saying that she hadn't heard of that drug. There are, you know, basically healthcare is an experiment, right? So I hear all of these negative things about all of these medications that I could go on for osteoporosis. And my mom has gone through a few of them and is on something now that she knows she needs to be on for life. And so, yeah, so she's been kind of coaching me along here too. I'm doing a lot of, you know, up and down, kind of like a little bit of jarring kind of movements to help stimulate bone creation, bone mass creation, that kind of thing. So trying to do that a few times a day. Yeah, it's scary. Okay. Or a piece of ribbon. Oh, yes. Marcia just suggested, well, she might have suggested it like 30 seconds ago, but again, comments are delayed. But I was saying you could take and use the strip of cardstock, or you could like sponge the edge to make it stand out. Marcia was saying you could take and use a strip of ribbon there too. Yes, absolutely. Heidi just takes calcium. Yep, and I am on some hormones anyways, just because of my extreme menopause issues that I had. And estrogen is something that they say helps. So who knows? I'm not sure. Right now, we're just living life the healthiest we can, right? Okay. Are we ready to move on? Let's move on. Clue number 5. I hope that your card is looking great so far, or your card pieces are looking great so far. Clue number 5, we're going to adhere the more subtle pattern paper now. Okay, so now we're working with the non-triangular piece. We're taking the more subtle pattern paper, and we're looking at our card base, our full card base piece right now. Okay, so we're going to take that, keep it folded so that you can see what the top front piece looks like. It should look like it's, it should look like this, only with a little section cut out of it. Okay, so we're looking at your folded card base, and we're going to be adhering that subtle paper to the front. We're going to adhere the paper to the top front of the card base, leaving a narrow bit, about 1/16 of an inch of cardstock exposed on the top, the left, and the right edges. Okay, so when you add that here and you add your designer paper up here, you're exposing a little bit on the top, the left, and the right edges. Don't worry about the bottom. You're going to have a little excess on the bottom, and you're going to trim it off. And that's going to get covered up anyways. So just looking at the top and the left and right edges of your folded card base, you want to get that paper lined up in there with just a little bit of base cardstock exposed on those 3 edges. Then you're going to trim off the excess pattern paper, because there will be a little bit down in this corner here. You're going to take and trim off that excess pattern paper that extends past that diagonal cut that we had. Okay, so just once you've stuck it down, then flip it over and trim off the excess. You're saving the clues, and we'll try it after your workshop today. Okay, yes, you could do screenshots as we go. Or again, my blog post is live right now, so if you want to, you can go there. And I don't show the cards right at the beginning. I show them at the end of the blog post. So if you're on the blog post, you'd have to scroll to get to the finished cards. So you can scroll enough where you can copy the clues and play with them and then come back, okay? Yes, I've heard of collagen too, Sandy, although there's some controversy with that, but Jell-O and collagen supplement type stuff like powders, I've actually taken those for a few years too. So yeah, and I still got osteoporosis, but who knows, maybe it helped me. Maybe I would have had a larger number on my DEXA scan had I not been doing these things, right? Beverly wants to do this. She goes, I'm driving. Oh, just keep swimming. I love it. Thanks, Heidi. Heidi on Facebook, she goes, menopause was so fun, with a little face like this. And then she goes, just keep swimming. Yeah. I love Nemo and Dora. That was the fish, right? Okay, are we ready? We've adhered that subtle pattern to the top of the base, the card base folded piece, and we've trimmed off any excess. Now we're moving on to clue number 6. Okay, we're going to attach that layered triangular piece into place. We're going to line up the corners and the left and bottom edges. Easy. This is the easy step, because you knew where that piece went before on what? Clue number, I don't know. Clue number 3? Yeah. Clue number 3 is where we positioned it initially so that we knew where it would go. And then we decorated it, and now we're going to stick it back in place. So we've got our designer paper on there. We've got our little accent trim cardstock on there. Everything's ready to go. So attach that layered triangular piece into place, lining up the corners and the left and bottom edges. be careful, and I forgot to write this in here, but if you're putting glue on there or any kind of adhesive on the triangular piece and sticking it down, the bottom portion here, especially like right in here, if you put glue there, you're gonna have it show through. It's gonna like, yeah. So try to avoid that bottom area. Okay. Now you've stuck it on there, so you got your triangular piece on the front of your card. And then you're gonna trim off, because you're gonna have a little bit of excess triangle up here, and you're gonna trim that off, and then you're gonna have a little bit of excess of that 1/2 inch cardstock, okay? And you're gonna trim that off. We want our card to still look like it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when we've put that on there. So again, stick that triangular piece on, trim off any excess from the top left and the bottom edge, okay? How are we doing? I want another thumbs up, okay? I want to know how many of you, oh, it's not a drug, Lori says. Oh, I'll have to look more into that. Okay, thank you. How many of you are feeling like you are set? Oh, there's a question. I have a question finally, because I haven't seen any questions come through. I still have a rectangle on top of the triangle. Was the DSP supposed to be cut? Yes. Oh my gosh, did I not tell you to trim that up? Oh my goodness sakes, Rachel. Let's go back to clue number. Adhere the more dominant pattern to this triangular piece, leaving a narrow bit of cardstock exposed. Adhere the longest edge of this triangular, oh yes, in here. I'm gonna have to revise my blog post too. Right in here. Trim off excess pattern paper. Oh, see, I'm so stressed. Normally, I have my clues written out long before, the night before, and I have somebody check them. Okay, that triangular piece does not look like a triangle if we don't have that excess pattern paper cut off. So sorry, you guys. Can you peel it back up? Peel it back up, because we need to make it into a triangle. Because how are we getting that 1/2 inch wide strip along that longest edge of the triangle if we did not trim it up? I was assuming that you knew that, and I'm so sorry that I did not explain that. So you still need to keep it a triangle. You want to have that dominant pattern paper on there. After you stuck it down, trim that edge. Then you got that long 1/2 inch wide strip that's getting attached to that longest edge here. Pam goes, I'm impressed by all of you that are crafting along. I am too, because you know what? Rachel screwed up. So I'm really impressed if you have figured out my mistake before we even, yeah. Did you figure it out? Did you figure out that you were supposed to trim that up? All right. I see a thumbs up from Virginia. So she must have figured that out. She's given me a thumbs up. Yeah, and I had a medical procedure on the 31st of December too. I'm a little out of it. What does sprinkled mean, Sandy? I see that you wrote sprinkled. Sprinkled, that's sweet. It sounds pretty. You need a visual picture of the finished card. You know, again, a lot of people do. A lot of people find mystery stamping very challenging. But so many people love it that they've asked me to do it more regularly. So this is what we're doing today. Otherwise, enjoy. Now, after this one's done, and I didn't do this for the 2 other mystery stamping that I've done before, because this is only my 3rd one. So forgive me for not having that last little thing checked. I'm so sorry about that. But for those of you that have watched my other 2 mystery stamping, I didn't give you some little tips afterwards when I showed the finished examples. Today, I'm going to do just a little bit of teaching before I let you go, okay? So, all right. I see another thumbs up from Ava. Yay. Had to cheat and look at the blog post. Oh, that's totally fine. See, and there we go. We have the ability for you to cheat if you need to. I love that you admitted it, Mary. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. Clue number 7. Okay, clue number 7. We're now going to adhere our dark rectangular and our whiter vanilla rectangular layers. So we're taking the largest of the darkest ones and we're going to add that into place inside the bottom half of the open card base. So if this is the card, you're going to open it and you're going to attach it here. Okay? This is the card opened up. This would be the top half. This is the bottom half. You're going to put that dark, large rectangle as a layer inside, the bottom half inside the card. Okay, and I don't want you to put the white one on yet. The white one will go on top of that, but you may want to stamp on it first, right? Decorate it up, do that sort of thing. So don't add the white ones yet. The next pair is the smaller rectangles. So you have smaller rectangles, and those are going to go on the front of the card when it's folded back in place. So when you fold the card like this, fold it shut, you've got your smaller rectangles, and those are going to get centered on the front. Don't add the white yet, because again, you may want to, hi Jody, you may want to decorate it up first before you add it. But take your darker one, you can at least put that one in place so that when you add your white layers on the inside and outside, you're good to go, okay? So again, add the darker cardstock pieces into place, the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 to the inside bottom half of the open card base, and the 3 by 4 1/4 centered in the middle on the front of the folded card base. I added mine with dimensionals because I think adding a little bit of shadow there just gives it more interest, but you can add it flat if you want to. And then be careful where you place your adhesive on that layer, because that one, as you know, you're going to have a little bit exposed down here because there's a corner in the bottom right, as you're finding, that allows you to peek into the card. Kind of fun, right? Cindy, did you have to start over because of my mistake on the trimming up that triangular pattern paper? If so, I am so sorry. Heidi also cheated. I'm glad that we have that option. Do you guys like that option of being able to cheat? Okay. Hi, Eineke. How are you? What time is it there in the Netherlands? We did have a wonderful holiday. Linda was asking. We had a really wonderful holiday, although I did, like I told you, I had a medical procedure, colonoscopy, and it wasn't fun, but I was at home in the evening of New Year's Eve. So even though I was trying to still kind of recover from what my body went through, I was at home near a toilet. Had to eat mild food for still a little bit longer, but yeah, totally fine. So, all right, here we go. Next. The last clue is always basically finish it up. This is the time where you do what you need to do to make your card a card, right? Turn it into a birthday card, turn it into a thinking of you card, congrats card, a happy retirement card, a Valentine's card, whatever you want. You can also rotate it if you want to. Now, I didn't with any of mine, but you can rotate it and make it a vertical card if you haven't stamped yet, except if you have a directional paper. So when I do these mystery stamping things, you kind of have to do a practice card first always, especially because Rachel made a mistake in the clues. But you have to do a practice one, and you can't say to yourself, and you can't be mad at yourself if you make a mistake or if it doesn't turn out great looking the first time, because you are trying to follow written and verbal clues. That's hard. That's hard to do. And you want to be able to kind of get the gist of it before you create it. If you're too hard on yourself and you expect it to come out perfect after only hearing and reading what it was supposed to look like, then that's not good. That's not good. You can't be that hard on yourself. Then you need to do the New Year's resolution of not being hard on yourself for 2025. I'm just kidding. Anyways, you're going to stamp the white layers or decorate them up however you want, adding die cut layered pieces. You can even add like extra fancy foiling and ribbons and I don't know, inking techniques. Maybe you want to take your white layers instead of having them just plain white and stamping on them. Maybe you want to do a fun spritzing background first or something like that. But you're going to add those finished white layers to the inside and the outside to create your finished card. Don't forget to embellish if you need to embellish. I hope that this was fun. Now, what we're going to do next, I'm going to take the clues away. I'm going to take my little black table away, and we're going to have our grid paper under there. Where is it? Oh, that's that on that side. Okay, anyways, we're going to take the grid paper away. Or I'm sorry, we're going to use the grid paper. And I'm going to introduce you to the finished cards that I intended you to have, to have that look. I wanted you to have that similar look to what I'm going to show you here. And then I'm going to give you some tips on them. So let's tape this grid paper in place. By the way, if you are new to my channel or my Facebook page, I would hope that you would subscribe, tune in, because I do lives every week, sometimes twice a week, because I love to share. All right, are we ready? This is the card that inspired, and I'll zoom in a bit here. This is the card that inspired the idea for today's mystery stamping. So this is from Tina Bickford, and you can see that we have a little exposed corner down here. So she stamped that up. She actually, because she wanted the flowers to fit, because this stamp set, this is a new stamp set. It's going to be one that you can earn from Celebration. It's a freebie with a $120 order. And it's actually, let me just check here over on the side because I can't show you the inside yet. But it's a stamp set and die combo. It's called the Heart-Shaped Bundle. So you have dies in there, you have stamps in there, and she wanted these stamps to fit down in this corner, so that's why this piece isn't centered on top. But I gave you less room. I centered that piece, and she also didn't use designer paper underneath here. Instead, she just used the plain cardstock because this here is nice and busy as it is, and to add more busyness back here would have been too much. So she took and kept this plain and only embossed this corner, this triangular piece here. She just embossed that. She stuck this layer flat down so it's not on dimensionals. And there you go. That's what the inside looks like. And that's what it looks like closed. Let's see some samples that I created now. This is my first sample that I want to share with you. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. The first sample, so I used designer paper because I didn't want anyone to feel like they had to own a machine that embossed. So all of you could do this as long as you had some pretty papers, some cardstock, that sort of thing, right? A trimmer. So you've got your designer paper that's more subtle and then your louder one. I took and used the same color cardstock for my base. I used Lemon Lime Twist with the Lemon Lime Twist green here, so it blended in, and this took more of a background look, and this took more of a foreground look. So you can see the Lemon Lime Twist edging here, okay? And then you can see the Granny Apple green, and the Garden Green is the dark of the three. So I used white, Lemon Lime Twist, and Garden Green for my cardstock. The Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist are in the designer paper. This designer paper is available right now. It is called Refreshed, what is it called? Yeah, Refreshed Beauty. And it is available. It's only seen online, but you can see Really, really pretty colors in there, really pretty patterns. It is a designer paper that has been recolored from a past set of designer papers. And so that's what I use there. And then I use the stamp set. Thanks, Polly. And then I use the stamp set called Handmade Designs. The Handmade Designs stamp set is not one that you can purchase, though. In fact, it's not available yet. So why am I sharing it? Because it is one that I want you to fall in love with. No, you can fall in love with it. If you do fall in love with it, then you'll want to get the starter kit during Celebration. Celebration is a promotion that Stampin' Up! Has every year. This year it's from January 7th through the end of February. And if you purchase the starter kit, you get to pick up to $125 worth of product for $99 plus tax. The shipping is free. Business supplies, because it's called a starter kit, you get business supplies, but they are not charged in that. And you get a bonus. You get this stamp set, and you get to pick 2 family sets of markers. This is the brights, and then you can pick another one, neutrals, regals, whatever. You can also choose during Celebration to not get this and the marker set, and instead just choose an extra $30 in free products. So you could go with the $155 worth of product for $99. You can't go over, just so you know. So you can't go over. It's a special kind of order, and you can't earn Celebration freebies from this catalog because it's a totally different type of order. Okay, Handmade Designs. You can see I took this potted plant here, and the way that I did that, we'll just grab one of these papers here. I use StazOn ink because I'm coloring with water-based markers, these guys here. So I use StazOn ink, which is basically waterproof. Let me grab my stamp and mount that onto a block. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out just a tad here. I've also got some Granny Apple Green ink here, although I could have used the back side of, the brush end of a marker. So I could take and go like this instead of stamping it into my garden green ink. So that's what I did here is I inked it up in my garden green pad, and then I inked the other half in my StazOn. So the way that I inked it with the StazOn is I looked at it from the side, and I made sure that that StazOn ink was not getting into the green area. Okay, I just inked up that top half. And if you see anything on there from the StazOn that gets in the way, you can take and clean it up. And then you can come back in and either ink it in your garden green, or we're going to try this just to be different. Or you can come back in and just make sure that you've added your Granny Apple Green with a marker or your garden green with another marker, because you can get the colors in markers. Now, this is sat on here. It's dried a little bit. I don't want that to happen. You actually don't want to exhale onto StazOn. You want to ink and stamp right away. So here we go. Ready, set, line it up, and stamp. There we go. So now we have 2 different looks. We have a light pot and we have a dark pot. We still have the leaves there. The leaves have not been colored in. What I did is I took my lemon lime twist and my garden green, lemon lime twist and Granny Apple Green, which is why I think I made this pot darker, because now this is going to be the same color. That's okay. But I took my lemon lime twist and I just colored the leaves. And then the veins of the leaves, I went over with the Granny Apple Green color. So after I colored in all of those leaves with the lemon lime twist, which is kind of a yellowish light green, then I took the bullet tip and I just went across these lines to get a more defined look on those leaves. And that's how I did that. I also added some pearls from the Blooming Pearls pack down here. This is a longer exposed edge. This is a shorter one, so I just added 1 tiny little pearl up there. Thank you. And then I added 2 down here. You still see those pearls on the inside of the card. I also took and stamped from that set the top half of this one with my garden green ink and then colored in with the lemon lime twist again. Added a little dragonfly for a touch, and this sentiment also comes from that stamp set. Let me show you another one. So here's another card that I did, same fold. I don't know the name of this fold, so if anybody does know the name, I would love to know, okay? All right, here we go. So this is using that same paper that I just shared with you, the Refined Beauty one. I've got garden green again for my layers and my edges here, okay? I've got flamingo, flirty flamingo for my card base, and then white, basic white is my neutral. For this one, I did the same thing. So I took my stamp, and I'm gonna grab and mount that right now. And this time I'm going to take and use the pad. And I carefully got into those leaves with my pad, like so. And I think what I did is I actually just kind of guessed from above. Yeah, that looks good. So I added the green, like so. Okay, the green is all over there. Now the black was the tougher part because you kind of have to get in those corners. But you can see the raised pad on these. You can see where it's raised, so it's easier to kind of guide that across. Okay, so you want to spread it on there. You want to tap it down, make sure the whole area gets inked. And then quickly turn it over, stamp it down. Don't exhale onto StazOn. Now we have that flower stamped. We have green leaves, and we have an outline that is not going to get disturbed once we add watercolor markers to it. Now you could stamp the whole thing in garden green if you want to. I did not want that look. If you are doing watercoloring with this, which we are going to be doing now, if you're doing watercoloring with it, then that's where the StazOn is going to move. If you add a blender pen to a water-based ink, like this one or any other classic pad, you're going to smear it. And that darker green, if I did that for the whole flower here, is going to start to bleed, and we don't want that happening, right? All right, so now I'm going to use a clear block, and I'm going to color onto the surface. You can't see it very well, but oh yeah, you can. Look at that. But I'm coloring on some Flirty Flamingo ink, which is the same color as this base. I'm using a blender pen. A blender pen is kind of like a little water pen, like a paintbrush, only it's got more control. You'll dip into it, and then you'll start in the center and just kind of pull out and away from the middle. Your color is going to be very dense when you first start doing this. And as you go, it's going to start to lighten up because you're not going to have as much color on your clear block. And you kind of want the center of your flower to be darker anyways. So as I'm going away from the center, I'm avoiding the outsides of the petals. I'm just going right up to those petal edges, and I'm looking at the petal that's underneath. And I'm coloring from the base of that underneath petal out and away so that I get that dark to light look on the petals that are underneath. And as I'm doing this, you'll be able to see, and I can pull it up here and show it a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. I guess this has turned into a class. But do you see here what I'm doing? I am creating that gradient type look, right? Now, when you want to change colors with a blender pen, you just color it onto your grid paper, your scrap paper, and then you get the ability to use it in another color. It's not muddied. But you can just clean that off with a wet wipe or wash it off or whatever. Take a Kleenex, a wet Kleenex tissue, whatever. And that's how I got that look all the way around. It takes a little bit of time. It's a little putsy because it's a big flower, but if you want that more 3D look for that flower, that would be a good thing to do. You can also take and use a blending brush to kind of add color to this, because the darker part of the blending brush is going to get into the middle, right? And so that will make the whole flower look as if it's dark to light as it goes out. Virginia asks, why can't you exhale on Stays On? Because Stays On dries fast and it can actually stain. Like right now, it's sitting on my stamps and it's staining them. You definitely don't want to use Stays On photopolymer stamps, which are totally clear. The totally clear stamps are more porous, and that Stays On, especially Stays On Cleaner, can ruin your totally clear stamps. It's just a different kind of material. I did pretty well at cleaning that off, but if you let that sit for a long time, it will bond to the rubber. You can actually color on non-porous surfaces with Stays On. It's a different kind of ink. It can stamp onto, say, cellophane bags and I don't know, plastic and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. How can you get the stamp set? You're already a demonstrator. That's a great question. You guys, if you are a demonstrator right now, you have the ability to pre-order it. Once celebration starts on January 7th, you cannot get this stamp set anymore, just so you know, okay? You don't have the ability to pre-purchase it before it becomes a starter kit stamp set. So again, if you're a demonstrator, you need to purchase it on a demonstrator order before January 7th, before celebration begins. It is in the demonstrator side of the website on the celebration information tab under happening now. Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you like the pearls in the corners. Thank you so much, Sally. So these are the little pearls, again, from the Blooming Pearls pack, which has 4 colors in it. Let me show that to you. Blooming Pearls. They're one of my favorites. It's like the embellishment that everybody has to have. This is my favorite way, by the way, to store my embellishments. I have them in this little crate from the Country Hive. It's like a little angled tote. And I have mine leaning back. I mean, you could face them the other way, but I don't like it when they tip forward. So I have them leaning back, and I just have them sorted by biggest packs, medium packs, smaller packs in the front. And it's so, forgive the pun, flippin' easy to flip through all of them and find the one I need. So these are Blooming Pearls, and then you get 1 sheet and you have 4 colors. You get Pretty Peacock, I'm forgetting the names of them. I know this is Garden Green, Gold, and I want to say that's Pretty in Pink, but I don't know. Because they're iridescent-y, they match a bunch of different ones, so you can use this with blues, you can use this with light greens, dark greens, that kind of thing. So I use the pinks on here. I use the Garden Green one on there. And then I've also got the dragonflies in there again. Same kind of embellishments. Okay. On the 3rd card, I have 4 to show you. On this 3rd card here, I used a stamp set called, oh shoot, here it is. Twisted in Time. This is something that you have to wait until January 7th to get, but it's available on January 7th. You can find it in the online store, Twisted in Time. And it has an actual Happy Easter sentiment in it, which is great. But you have this fun little twisted tree trunk, the leaves that can attach. You have a more solid, realistic looking top of the tree. Then it also has coordinating dies. I used basic beige for my card base. I did not use any designer paper. I did mine similar in the way that Tina did hers, where I just left this regular and embossed the triangular piece. I added an extra layer. I added gold foiling along that strip. And then the darkest color is Pebbled Path. It's an in color that looks more like a neutral. It's kind of a reddish or brownish gray. And I thought it worked really well with the basic beige. I stamped off the Pebbled Path ink onto my scrap paper and then stamped it on to my white to get that light gray look in here. This is full color Garden Green, but I used the blending brush. So if I stamp with that stamp, we will just pull that out. Here's where you don't want to use photopolymer. I'm sorry, where you don't want to use StazOn ink. Did not use StazOn ink with my photopolymer. But if I take this stamp, mount it onto a block, ink it up, I use garden green ink, and oops, let's get the whole thing, and then stamp it down. Okay, that's the look that you're going to get. You can then take your blender pen, sorry, did I say blending brush? We have so many products with the word blend in it, you guys. And I can color in each and every leaf. I want to go fairly fast though if I'm going to do it this way, because the ink, the garden green ink, will eventually dry. And fortunately it's a dark ink, so you still can pull some color from it. But the faster your ink, or the longer your ink takes to get colored, the harder it is to pull the color from the edges, okay? Or you can just go like this. And what will happen there is, and I didn't do it on mine, but you'll get more of a fuller green look all over the whole thing. So here's the difference between doing it that way and doing it this way. So you get more of a fuller green look. I was going to do it, but I'd already started doing that, and I'm like, just continue. But I wanted to show you that option for the tree if you wanted to give it a fuller green look. And it's faster. Oh, Gail Beth, that was funny. She goes, this bundle is certainly growing on me. I love that. We're getting all kinds of fun jokes in, aren't we? That's awesome. I've got the birds, the dragonflies. Those come from the same embellishment set. So I use them again. I also use the blooming pearls again. On the inside, I have the word thank you stamped. Oh, and I have an extra little bird at the top. And right here, I just added a little strip of basic beige as my little sentiment strip piece, okay? All right. Okay, next, and this is the final sample. This is probably the simplest card to make, but look at the way I turned it, you guys. I did it differently. You guys are all I can't wait to read the live comments, because you're all giving me advice on what to do about my osteoporosis diagnosis. And we're all sharing our woes, I'm guessing, our things that have helped, things that haven't helped. I've seen lots of conversation going on. Okay, so this card is vertical. You could take this, pretend the flower is not on there, okay? You could take this and turn it vertical and decorate it. Remember I told you could turn it vertical and decorate it? Because it will sit up like that. It'll sit up nice and stable because this piece is flat. You could also flip it and do it the other way. It has a slightly less stable base here, but it's still halfway through the card. And it's not a real top-heavy card. I mean, you don't have a lot up here, so it's not like it's going to fall over. So this one, if you turn them this way, I cut the diagonal off the other side. Instead of cutting from the right edge down to the bottom left corner, I cut from the left edge to the bottom right corner because I wanted these mushrooms to go across the top. So I cut from here to here, twisted it that way, and set that piece up in that spot here. So that's how I did that one. And this is my more dominant paper, now facing in that direction. It's now a horizontal piece instead of a vertical. And my other one, my subtle one, is on the side here. This is a new set. This is one that you will find in the mini catalog. This is one that you can purchase in the online store. So this one's kind of like more exposed than the Twisted Tree one. The Twisted Tree one, you will only see that set in the online store. It's not in the catalog. But the mushroom one is in both. And the mushroom one is called Terrific Toadstools. It has these cute little images and it coordinates with a punch. Where is my punch? Dun, 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 dun. Here it is. Terrific Toadstools Builder Punch. So you can punch out this piece, you can punch out this piece, and you can punch out this piece. I chose to fussy cut because I was fussy cutting this anyways. So I took and I stamped, stamped, stamped. This is the full mushroom base. Do I have it in my garbage still? I do. Ha. So you can see this. So I took and cut, punched or stamped that twice and then cut the center out and stuck it onto my Melon Mambo inked up mushroom top. Stuck that on there and then stuck this piece on there. They're all up on dimensionals to give a little bit of a shadow. And these little pebble pieces are fun embellishments. They are from, and you know what's funny is I have my blog post up in front of me. I'll just look at that. They are, they're called Riverside Irregular Pearls and the Flat Back Adhesive Pearls. I think my flat back ones are easy to find. Maybe not. Or maybe I have them on my table somewhere. I don't know where they're at. Anyways, I don't have them right now. But that's how I got the little pebbles or the little rock look there. And just stuck a couple on one side, one on the other. You know, you could do it the opposite way if you feel like the trunk of your mushroom is more to that side. You could put two over here instead. Popping up to say hi, sentiment from here. The inks are basic, I'm sorry, not basic, beige. What was the beige or the gray I used? Gray granite, gray granite, gray granite cardstock. Gray granite is in the designer paper, and then Melon Mambo. Melon Mambo is a color in the designer paper, and then basic white. So I have nothing on the inside of that one. I didn't put anything in this corner, although I could have, but I just left it blank. I kept it real basic. I've been talking for a long time. You know about the promotions coming up. We have a new catalog of products that are beginning on January 7th, along with a promotion that will last from January 7th through the end of February, where you purchase $60 worth of product in the US, you get a freebie. There's a couple freebies in here that are a little higher to get to. That's with a $120 order, and then you get those. But most of them are at the $60 level. Last chance products are labeled in the online store. So if you have not checked out the online store yet, you can visit my website at stampyourartout.com. Click on anything that says shop. When you click on the shop now button or shop here or whatever, it will take you to the Stampin' Up! Store, and you can see what items are listed last chance. Anything that has a pink last chance label next to it means that the inventory is going to be depleted. Once it's gone for good. No coming back. We have no more clearance rack where something that was retired will come back again. These last chance products are going to be gone for good. So if you see something that's labeled last chance, get it. Okay? Don't wait. I invite you to visit my blog just to subscribe so that you get notices of when my posts happen. I think I post maybe 3-4 times at the most during the week. And I do videos within those posts. You'll find links to the videos. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, those sorts of things, because then you can get notices that way as well. But I hope that you had fun with mystery stamping. This was so much fun for me. I apologize about the mistake of not trimming off that extra designer paper. I'm going to fix that on my blog post. But I hope that you had a great, great time. Tina, I love it. She's watching. Tina, thank you for inspiring the card. It was a happy accident. I have to scroll back and read your comment. She's watching on Facebook here. The design I was going to submit for my card swap didn't work out, so I started with another design, and when I set my paper aside, this is kind of how it landed. I love it. Well, thank you for inspiring today's mystery stamping, Tina. Bless you. All right, you guys, I am going to let you go. I can't think of anything else that I was going to say. Oh, I want to tell you about my upcoming lives so that you can come back. I'm going to go click on my computer screen here. All right, so today is what day? Today is the 2nd. My next live will be Friday. No, that's tomorrow. Saturday. Sorry. In 2 days at 10 o'clock. Nope, at 11 o'clock. Rachel, get it straight. I don't have a script in front of me like I normally do, so I have to just kind of like go by memory here. At 11 o'clock on Saturday, January 4th, 2025, I am going to do a show and share live. Show and shares are either showing new product, which I've already done with a lot of this new stuff already, so check out my YouTube channel for back videos. But this show and share will be showing off things that you have all created and sent to me. Swap cards will be included in there, but there's lots and lots of gifted cards to me, especially, oh my gosh, holiday cards. I have a ton of holiday cards to share with you. These are all handcrafted items. A couple of the handcrafted cards came to me with gifts, so I will show off the little gifts that came with those. But if you sent me a photo Christmas card this year, I'm not sharing it, sorry. I'm only sharing the hand paper crafted type of cards, okay? Thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully we will see you at that live on January 4th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Anyways, that's it. Hope you had fun. Take care, everybody. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.